Hello, this is the fourth installation of the Mamar, a discourse which was said by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, in 1984. And there he explains a very important subject, which was also explained by the 6 generations of Rebbes, the 6 Rebbes, leaders of the Chabad Chassidic movement before him, namely what is Rosh HaShanna. And here he explains that Rosh HaShanna is the day that God created man, the 6th day of creation. And that is the day we sound the Shofar, which the Shofar is a coronation of God, but even more, it gives God pleasure. It's the first real commandment that we do in the Jewish year. The Jews are the only ones that celebrate or even know the day that the world was created and the man was created, because the whole world depends on man, and God has an interrelationship with man that when we do what he wants, he gets pleasure. And that's the idea of the shofar. The shofar hints at the word pleasure, shufra, and in addition to this, the shofar arouses the essence of God. And that's going to be something like what's going to happen in the days of the Moshiach, when a big shofar will be sounded. And that's the name of this discourse. It is a discourse on the sentence about a sentence from Isaiah, that on this day the big shofar will be sounded. It doesn't say who sounds it. And all the Jews from the land of Ashur and from Egypt will come to bow down to God in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. What exactly does this mean? Why the sound of a shofar is going to arouse people to change their whole lives and start bowing down in Jerusalem? How is this going to happen? So the Rebbe says, first of all, let's understand what happened on Rosh HaShanna. On Rosh HaShanna, man was created. More exactly, man was not just created, but he was given a second soul. That's right. When all the animals and all of the plants, etc., were created, they were created together with their souls. But man was created with his soul, and afterwards it says that God blew into his nostrils a second soul. And this second soul is something like the revelation of God that was in the Holy Temple. The difference is, of course, the Holy Temple doesn't have any free will, and you can choose to go to the Holy Temple or not. But a Jew cannot choose to not be a Jew or to be a Jew. A Jew is always a Jew. Every Jew has this revelation inside of them, has a holy of holies. And it drives us crazy, and it drives the rest of the world crazy. Because it constantly reminds us of our responsibility. And in this responsibility is joy and pleasure, but it's not easy. Like the difference between being honest and being dishonest. A dishonest person can make a lot of money, can get success, and an honest person, on the other hand, might be missing a lot of the success and physical, but he has a certain type of pleasure, a certain type of integrity, that he's doing what's right, what's true. That is the idea of the pleasure that God gets. This is pointed out in the 2nd chapter of the Tanya, where it explains what the second soul is. It says that this second soul is a chelik eloka mimal. It is a portion of God from above. Mamash, really. Mamash means really. What does it mean, really? Really has 2 different meanings. Really means it's really a portion of God from the essence, and really means that it's a portion of God, but really, it's really in this physical world. It's real. The Yadua Perush Kavod Kedushas Mori Chami Admor, it's known, the explanation of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, who was the father-in-law, Mori, my teacher, my father-in-law of the Rebbe, Shahakavana Bahosafa Tevas, that the intention in adding the word mamash, he is l'shtei inyanim, goes in 2 directions. Echad, 1, shetevat mamash, that what it says that the godly soul is a part of God. Mamash means really. Kai refers al chelik eloka mimal, refers to that it's a portion of God. Hainu shehi kiviyachal chelik me'atzmuto, it is a part of God's essence. so to speak, because we can't really talk about God in any sort of normal terms. We have to remember that we are only creations. We are only creations of God. God is creating us from nothing. We are miracles. There's no possible way that we can understand the Creator. But nevertheless, we do know that every Jew has a portion of God's essence inside of his soul. Shahari man de nafach, because it says, like it says in the Zohar, the one who blows out, God blew out the soul. He blew out of himself this soul into the nostrils of man. That's what it says, Vayipach ba'apav. God created the whole world from speech. A person can speak all day. A person can speak and you can record what he said. You can listen to the speech. Words that were said 200 years ago, it sounds like he's right in the room. So speech is very elusive. But blowing out, you can only feel if someone's blowing out if the person is right there. The same thing, the soul inside of a Jew, it's a constant feeling of the essence of God. The Word of God is the world. A person could think that maybe God spoke it 5,000, 5 million, 5 billion years ago. Maybe it's not even God. Maybe it just sounds artificial. Man the nafach, but the Jewish soul is a proof that God exists. Mitochel nafach. Every Jew feels it. It's blown from God's inside. When did this start off? On Rosh HaShanna. Mitochioto epinimioto. That the soul comes from the inside and the innerness of God. Ad la'atzmut umahut. Until God's essence and God's very essence of his being. What does this mean? God existed before the world existed. Time is just a creation of God. Can we imagine what is above time? Can't understand a thing like that. God is above creating the world. God's reality is above creating the world. That's where our understanding goes. That God, that's why, by the way, Jewish men wear a kippah, to remind us that our understanding only goes up to here. That's called Yira Malka, Yarmulka, it means Yari Malka, fear of the Creator. The Creator is so real that it's impossible to understand in any way where our existence comes from. Our existence totally depends on Him. All we can understand is that God is above the world. That's not talking about God Himself. That's talking about God as the lowest aspect of God. What is God's essence? That was revealed in the Holy Temple. It was revealed on Mount Sinai. But even more, it's revealed in every single Jew, and it will be revealed everywhere in the days of the Messiah. That's the raising of the dead. We'll realize there was no such thing as death. Like it explains the Rav Magid in the beginning, B'techilat Shnei Svorav, in the beginning of his two books, the Neshamot Kol Echad MiYisrael, that the soul of every Jew, Chakuka, is carved out, B'machshavto, in God's thought. The world is created from God's speech, and the Jewish people rose up in God's thought. Yisberech. B'dugmat, like Surat Aben, like the imagination, the picture of a person that has a child. Any of you people that don't have children, you won't know exactly what this means. But your son's image is carved out. Chakuka b'machshavat ha'av is carved out in the thought of the father. If somebody said something happens to your son, something good happens to your son, immediately knows what it means. It touches the essence of his heart. The same thing, the Jewish people are carved out from God's essence. That's why we're called the sons of God. Bani matem l'Hashem Elokeichem. Mosif b'zeni adds on to mash the Tzuras Yisrael, that which the form of the Jewish people. Chakuka is carved out b'machshavto, in God's thought. Yisparech. Hu gam, this is kodem shenivru. This is even before they were created. It was there. Hainu she'em, that they are. Chukukot be'atzmuto, that they are carved in God's essence, kamoshu, as it is lamayla mitorav, even before God can be called a father. Now, according to Kabbalah, God has what's called a form. It's called these 10 spheres, 10 sphirot. The highest of them is called Chachma. Chachma is also, and there's a book called Sefer Yetzirah, it's called Av. It's called, Chachma is called father. Bina is called mother. It's a little bit difficult ideas to understand. In fact, they're impossible to understand, but we can understand because we're talking about God. But we can at least understand in a general way what we're talking about. Namely, that God does react to what we do, and God does have a personality, God does care, and God is our Father and our Creator. But there's something much higher than God being a Father, and that's what's called God's essence, and that's where the Jewish souls are carved out from. That's what it means that God blew into Adam's soul, into his nose, an extra soul, The Inyan of base, the second one, it means mamash, when it says that the soul is a part of God. Mamash, really, mamash, milin, means mamashot or mishush, that this highest aspect, the essence of God, comes down physically into the world so that it can be felt. It can be felt. Ask a Jew, a non-religious Jew, what do you think about God? He'll talk to you for an hour about why he doesn't believe in God. It's the most stupid thing in the world. Ask a non-Jew what he thinks about God. If he doesn't believe in God, he'll say, I don't believe. No problem. By a Jew, it kvetches him, makes him feel he has to be against, he has to make a movement. He's a Jew, he's a reformed Jew, but he's a Jew. It's important to him to be a Jew. He doesn't do the Torah, doesn't do the commandments, he doesn't have anything Jewish about him, he hates the whole business, he doesn't read from the Torah, doesn't have a kippah, doesn't have a bris, doesn't have nothing. But he is a Jew and he will die for this, and he's just a Jew, as good as Jew as everybody else, which is the truth. In the essence, he is. Because that's the godly soul that drives every Jew crazy. That's what it means, mamash, in the lowest levels. The kai that refers on hitlabshus and neshama, the enclothing of the soul, beguf, in a physical body, guf, gashmi, a physical body, davka. How could you find such a thing in a physical body? Figure you want to be holy, you have to go up to a mountain, you have to fast for 50 years at least. No, it says here it is, every single Jew has the essence of holiness, and it's only in this physical world, and it is revealed when you do commandments. This is connected to the commandments. We'll get to the commandments, but that's the idea of the Shofar on Rosh HaShanna. This is Masha Nefesh, that is what the second soul, the Nefesh Hashem, is the second soul of the Jews. It's a Chiluk Elokah, a portion of God, Mimal Mamash, which includes in this both explanations that is a part of God, Mamash, the essence of God, and also it's within the physical world, Mamash, physical, the Gam Kamoshi Bebechin is Mamash, even as it is in the way of Mamash, physical, Mamashos, that you can feel it in the physical body. Gam, as, even then, it is, Chelik Me'atzmuso, it is part of God's essence. Umahuso, and part of God's very quintessence is being Mamash. V'hi chad mamash, and the Jewish soul is one with God's essence. This started on Rosh HaShanna. How long did it last? A few hours. How long was it until Adam ate from the tree? A couple of hours. Fa'al yadei, by means of, who brought it back? Abraham. Fa'al yadei, by means of Adam, by means of man. By means of the Jewish people today. Nif'al, there was brought about, al yadei zeh, by means of this, gam bekol ha bria, in the whole entire creation. Because why were the Jews put in this world? What are the Jews chosen for? They're chosen to make this world a godly, holy, happy, meaningful place. Blessed place. The whole world. Every detail is created by God. We'll see it. We'll feel it. And God is good. But the Jews have to reveal it first. And in order to do this, they have to make some hard choices. That's why the first Jew was Abraham, by virtue of the fact that he stood 10 tests. He did not do 10 miracles. He did not promise heaven. Heaven and hell is not even mentioned in the whole entire 5 books of Moses. But Abraham also didn't mention it. Difficult choices. Mamash, in this physical world. Vehi chad mamash, this Jewish soul is one im atzmuto, with God's essence, Yisborech. And a lot of Jews, when given the choice to either change their religion or die on the stake, they chose to die on the stake for absolutely no reason. They could have chosen to live, and they would have gone to heaven. And everything. Al yedei, by means of Adam, by means of a person, nif'al, there is caused, al yedei zeh, gam b'kol bria, in the whole entire creation. Tehine yedu, it's known, te'amitit mitziot, it's known that the true existence, shela yesh, of this